All right, so it's another Sabbath that we've come together here, and surely we all have different things going on outside of this room here, and things, different challenges that we're going through, and it's always a challenge, to me, no matter what point in our lives we're in. There's always something to face, right? And it's important that when we're actually facing different problems that we keep perspective, though. And the perspective, though, we're talking about is the perspective of the Most High, of course, right? So the problem is when we're going through problems or trials and challenges, we lose that perspective. And that could be due to a whole lot of different issues. It could be due to just distractions, for example. It could be just due to we're being too busy. Whatever it may be, though, the fact of the matter is we lose perspective, his perspective, on the way we should handle our problems and the way we should deal with them. So the thing is, we want to talk a little bit about this today, right? Because we all are going through our own challenges, okay? So when we actually look at the book of Job, for example, does everybody kind of understand what the point of the whole message was in Job? See, the thing about it is, we've read the book of Job and we've drawn different conclusions from it and things like that. Conclusions that are rightfully, drawn from it. But also, too, there's some key elements in there also that we lose. So we're going to spend a little time here today in the book of Job, and we're going to look at it from the Most High's perspective, okay? And of course, there's all sorts of perspectives we can get in the world. The world gives us perspective. The media gives us a perspective. You name it, there's always someone's viewpoint, right? But at the end of the day, we want it to be the Most High's viewpoint that we're actually looking at things at, right? So I want to first define a word for us, right? And the word is called opportunity. Now, for some people, I'm sure that this is kind of sound familiar because, different ones I've spoke to different people here and there about when we have opportunities for faith, right? So let's define opportunity, though, just in case, right? So an opportunity is an appropriate or favorable time or occasion. Now, some key things I want to point out. It says it's an appropriate or favorable time or occasion. So that means that if you were going through something that we would call an opportunity in your life, that's a favorable time. Now, let's stop right there because we may say, wait a minute, brother, you telling me what I'm going through right now is a favorable time? No, brother, I don't believe you. But the very definition of an opportunity is an appropriate or favorable time or occasion. It's a situation or a condition that's favorable for attainment of a goal. It's a good position, a good chance, a prospect as for advancement or success. Freeze. That's what we want to talk about today. Because we all are in an opportunity right now, right? And some people, I've talked to individually, right, about different things they're going through. And, what have I said, right? I said, well, you have an opportunity for faith, right? But the thing about it is that do we really understand the deepness of what an opportunity is? Because I just defined it from the dictionary. An appropriate or favorable time or occasion. So whatever you're going through, no matter how bad or how bleak it is, the Most High says it's a favorable time or occasion. Because this is like a prophetic word here. But we're going to have the word that to actually support it. All right? So keep that in mind about what an actual opportunity is, okay? So let's go now to the book of Job. And we're going to go to chapter 1. All right? So we're going to read a little bit here in the book of Job. Because again, when are our opportunity, right? So, book of Job, chapter 1. Verse 1. It's okay. It says, there was a man in the land of Uz whose name was Job. Hold on, y'all. 1 second. Yeah, y'all know we got our babies with us, so hey, we got to take care of our babies. So, again, keep this in mind about an opportunity, a favorable time. So, at the book of Job, chapter 1, verse 1, it says, "There was a man in the land of Uz, whose name was Job, and that man was perfect and upright, and one that feared the Most High and eschewed evil. And there were born unto him 7 sons and 3 daughters. His substance also was 7,000 sheep and 3,000 camels and 500 yoke of oxen and 500 she-asses and a very great household, so that this man was the greatest of all the men of the east. And his sons went and feasted in their houses, every one on his day, and sent and called for their 3 sisters to eat and to drink with them. And it was so, when the days of their feasting were gone about, that Job sent and sanctified them, and rose up early in the morning and offered burnt offerings according to the number of them all. For Job said, It may be that my sons have sinned and cursed God in their hearts. Thus did Job continually. Now there was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan came also among them." Now, let's stop for a second, talk about this. So you have the sons of God, as well as the Hasatan, coming to present themselves before the Most High. So they're about to give an account, right? And we're going to see something interesting take place here, right? We've all read the story, right? But let's get further clarification on the story, though. Verse 7, "And the Most High said unto Satan, Whence comest thou? Then Satan answered the Most High and said, From going to and fro in the earth, and walking up and down in it." Now, question. Y'all notice that Satan was going to and fro in the earth, walking up and down in it? See, I submit to you, Satan was looking for something. That's why he was going to and fro of the earth, going back and forth, walking up and down in it, right? We can infer from the passage here, Satan was looking for an opportunity, right? But not the kind of opportunity that we want. But he was looking for an opportunity for something, all right? Remember, stick on opportunity, okay? Verse 8, "And the Most High said unto Satan, Hast thou considered my servant Job?" Whoa, let's stop for a second there. So we got Satan walking to and fro in the earth, right? Looking for something. Do y'all notice that it was the Most High, though, that actually presented the opportunity? Oh, let's stop right here, though, and talk about this. We're all in the midst of an opportunity right now, no matter what it is. But what you may not realize, you're in this opportunity because the Most High saw fit to place this as a favorable time for you. I know, but you say, wait a minute, brother. No, this is not a favorable time. I'm going through something really hard right now. You know what I mean? But, as Maswa just said, this didn't come about by accident. Must be his will that you go through this because, again, Satan went to and fro in the earth looking for an opportunity. But when he went to the Most High, it was the Most High that gave him the opportunity. And you are the object of his opportunity. Right. As Maswa says, sometimes we make it easy. Yep. Sometimes we put a target on our back. It's more the way, right? So, again, keep it in mind what opportunity means. Because, again, we just defined it. An appropriate and favorable time to attain success. So, back to verse 8 in Job chapter 1. "And the Most High said unto Satan, Hast thou considered my servant Job, that there is none like him in the earth? A man perfect and an upright man, one that feareth God and eschewed evil?" Now, let's take a look at that word consider. All right? So when we look up that word consider, that's H7759. And it means to put, place, set, appoint, or make. To lay, put, or lay upon. It also says to lay violent hands on. To set or direct or extend, as in compassion. to make something or determine it or fix it, to set it in place, to plant, to fix it. Did y'all notice fix is actually a definition there? To fix it, to make or transform it into something, to constitute or fashion it, to make it work for something. So let's stop there for a second, right? The Most High as Satan. Have you looked at Job? Even though he's perfect and upright, there's still something the Most High saw lacking in Job, isn't it? Even though he was upright and eschewed evil, the Most High gave Satan an opportunity to go and fix Job. Remember, we talk about an opportunity. Satan was looking for an opportunity, and the Most High gave him the opportunity. So I'm going to submit to you today, each one of us is also an opportunity. Each one of you, us, the Most High said to Satan, have you considered them? And remember, opportunity is a favorable time. So if it's favorable, that means that the Most High is actually allowing Satan to consider you for your own good. Now that's the hard part, right? Because some of the situations we're going through are so difficult right now, right? Some of us are in situations that are so fearful right now, right? It's so agonizing, right? We don't know what to do, and we're looking to the Most High and we're saying, Father, I don't know the way. But you're going to find out as long as you keep the Most High's perspective on your situation. So let's go back here. So verse 9, then Satan answered the Most High and said, does Job fear God for naught? So he's basically saying, hey, there's a reason Job's fearing you. Verse 10, has not thou made a hedge about him and about his house and about all that he hath on every side? Thou hast blessed the work of his hands, and his substance is increased in the land. But verse 11, but put forth thine hand now and touch all that he hath, and he will curse thee to thy face. So Satan stopped and said, well, hey, he don't serve you for no reason. You doing everything for him. You put a hedge of protection around him. Hey, you blessing his hands, you know. You making him be okay and stuff like that. Yeah, he gonna serve you, man. Come on. That's what Satan basically said to the Father. But remember, Satan was going through the earth, walking to and fro, looking for something. And the Father was the one that actually told Satan about Job. See, I submit to you today, it's the Father that got you into this. It's the Father. It's something going on between Satan and the Father that's got us each in our situations. The problem is, again, we lose that point while going through the situation. But again, it's an opportunity for faith. And multiple people have heard me say that over and over in private when I've talked to them about things they're going through, right? It's an opportunity for faith. How can you ever build faith unless it's exercised, right? So the thing is, keep in mind that whatever you're going through, whatever we're going through is not by accident. It's on purpose. And it is purposeful. So, verse 11, Satan puts forth a challenge. And he says to the Most High, okay, you gave him everything. You know, you doing for him. You taking care of him and stuff. But hey, touch him. Let's see how much he do for you then. Let's see how righteous he acts then, right? And see, do y'all know that when we're going through our situations, that's when we even need to be more steadfast in our righteousness? Because you're going through a test. It's not the Most High that actually put you in the test, but he is allowing Satan to come and test you. And remember, Satan is looking for someone to be an opportunity anyway, because Satan already knows his downfall. So he wants to take as many people with him as possible, right? You are his opportunity, though. So Satan has been walking to and fro through the earth, and he saw each one of us and said, him, her. But again, Not only did he see us, it was suggested to him by the Most High. So the Most High is actually trying to set us up for something. If only we'll allow him to work with us through what we're going through. So verse 12. And the Most High said unto Satan, Behold, all that he has is in thy power. Only upon himself put not forth thine hand. So Satan went forth from the presence of the Most High. So what I want everyone to do here, let's take Job out of the picture here. Let's inject ourselves. Because the Bible says that all scripture is written for the admonition, for edification, for doctrine, for reproof, all scripture. So we know it's a point to Job being included in the Bible. There's a point to it, right? And we need to see ourselves. So here we go. The Most High has actually given Satan permission to actually go and inflict Job, right? Guess what? He's also given Satan permission to go and inflict us too. And that's the part we don't like to hear. But again, and I want everybody to say it, who gave Satan permission? The Most High, right? Right. It just didn't come by accident, did it? So verse 13, and there was a day when his sons and his daughters were eating and drinking wine in their eldest brother's house. And there came a messenger unto Job that said, the oxen were plowing, and the asses feeding beside them, and the Sabaeans fell upon them and took them away. Yea, they have slain the servants with the edge of the sword, and I only am escaped alone to tell thee. So here we go. One day, disaster strikes, right? And y'all know that's how it's happened for us too, right? We were going along just fine and everything, and then one day the landlord said, I'm going to raise your rent. And we said to ourselves, well, I can't afford this raising the rent. But the landlord still said, I'm going to raise your rent today. So what do we think? We said, okay, all right. So now I got to figure out how I'm going to pay this extra rent. I don't have the money to do it, but all right, Father, I'm going to trust you and let you handle it. But wait. That's not the only thing that's about to happen. Verse 16, while he was yet speaking, there came another and said, the fire of God is fallen from heaven and hath burned up the sheep and the servants and consumed them. And I only am alone, escaped alone to tell thee. So now, guess what happens now? Your car gets broken down. See, y'all remember when we talk about the word, we got to put it in practical means today, right? Because we don't necessarily have experiences like they did in the Bible, right? We don't have those exact experiences, but we got experiences like it. So now the car breaks down. So now you're thinking to yourself, okay, the landlord done raised my rent, and now my car broke down. Wait a minute. And at that point, we start thinking, Lord, what's going on? But wait, it's not over yet. Verse 17, while he was yet speaking, there came also another and said, the Chaldeans made out 3 bands and fell upon the camels and have carried them away. Yea, and slain the servants with the edge of the sword. And I only am escaped alone to tell thee. So we already got the landlord raising our rent. Now the car breaks down. But yet something else happens. Now you're sick and you can't go to work. So if you don't go to work, a lot of times you don't get paid. So now you're thinking, Lord, my rent got raised, my car broke down, now I ain't got sick and I can't go to work. And now we really thinking, Lord, what's going on? Right? But wait. It's not over yet. Verse 18. While he was yet speaking, there came also another and said, thy sons and thy daughters were eating and drinking wine in their eldest brother's house. And behold, there came a great wind from the wilderness, and smote the four corners of the house, and it fell upon the young men, and they are dead. And I only am escaped along to tell thee. So first, the landlord raised your rent. Then your car broke down. Then you got sick and you couldn't go to work. And now something else happens. And now because you can't go to work, your boss decides to let you go, terminate you. So now you've got your rent raised, your car broke down, you got sick and couldn't go to work. Then your boss said, I'm just going to let you go. So your rent got raised, car broke down, you got sick, and you have no job. Y'all know these are practical situations, right? We've been through them at some time or another, right? But it's something when they all happen at once, right? On the same day. But remember how we got here. Remember how you got to the point where your rent was raised and your car broke down and you got sick and then you lost your job. Satan was going to and fro in the earth, looking for an opportunity. And the Most High saw you. And the Most High said, Satan, here's your opportunity. But I'm going to remind you, an opportunity is an appropriate or favorable time or occasion. It's a situation or condition that's favorable for the attainment of a goal. A good position as for advancement or success. But I know you're saying, brother, wait a minute. There ain't nothing good about my rent being raised, me not being of my car breaking down, me losing my job and being sick. There is nothing favorable about this, brother. But I have to ask you a question. What God are you serving? Because, again, we're looking at the story of Job. There was something there that the Most High saw that was lacking in Job. Now, if we haven't read the full book of Job, we may not see that early on. But when you go through the whole book, you do see it later. Because eventually the Most High asked Job some questions. But see, right now, we're asking the Most High question, saying, Lord, why did you let my rent get raised? Why did you let my car break down? Why did you let me get sick? And why did you let me lose my job? So we're asking the Most High these questions. And we even have tears in our eyes. And don't get me wrong, you may not be going through one of these particular situations, but you're going through something that's very hard like it. And you are asking the question, Lord, why? Why? And that prophetic word that he says is because I see an opportunity of advancement for you. I see this as a favorable time for me to bless you. But I know you're saying, no, this can't be that time. No, I'm going through too much right now. But yes, it is. This is your time for him to bless you, to advance you. So let's look at what Job did and compare it to what we do, right? Verse 20. Then Job arose and rent his mantle and shaved his head and fell down upon the ground and worshipped. Wait a minute. Y'all see that? Job worshipped. But that's not what we do. So, in our situation, our rent got raised, car broke down, we got sick, we lost our job. We ain't thinking about worshiping right now. Y'all know what we thinking about doing? We thinking about feeling sorry for ourselves. Oh, Lord, woe is me. Why me, Lord? But he's saying, why not you? We're not thinking about worshiping. We're thinking about being sad. We thinking about, isolating ourselves, just saying, you know what, I just want to be alone right now. Y'all ever notice when we going through, we don't like to be around nobody then, boy, because we know we ready to snap. right? But Job fell down on the ground and worshiped. So whatever we're going through in our situations, we should be falling down and worshiping too, because it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity for advancement, a favorable time of advancement at that, a favorable time, even though it looks so bleak. Verse 21, Job said, "There naked came I out from my mother's womb, and naked shall I return thither. The Most High gave, and the Most High hath taken away. Blessed be the name of the Most High." In all this, Job sinned not, nor charged God foolishly. Let's stop there and think and talk about that for a second. So Job got down and worshiped, and Job chose to keep the Most High's perspective while going through his challenges, right? And it says there, Job sinned not, and he didn't charge God foolishly. But that's not what we do. That is not what we do. And see, why do we have messages like this? Because the Most High wants us to respond appropriately to adversity. That's why. And I submit to us, if we never have adversity, we'll never know how to respond to Him. Life just can't be just good all the time. Well, trust me, we like for it to be. And trust me, I'm with you on that. I really would like for it to be. But we never grow when life is just good all the time. It's always through challenges and trials and tribulations that we grow. That's when we become successful and we grow in the Most High. So let's keep going. Job chapter 2. Because the heat's going to get turned up even more. Verse 1, "And there was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Most High, and Satan came also among them to present himself before the Most High. And the Most High said unto Satan, From whence comest thou? And look at Satan here. He said, we're going to and fro in the earth and walking up and down in it. So here's the thing, what that shows us. The Most High has already allowed Satan to come and challenge you, right? To bring situations. And Satan ain't stopping there. He going to and fro in the earth. He's still looking for more opportunity. He said, I'm looking. Who else can I get? Right? Satan not realizing that he just a bulldog that the Most High used to sick on us when we need sicking. Right? But Satan don't realize that. You know what I mean? Satan's being used by the Most High. Because remember, all things work together for the good of those who love Him and are called according to His purpose. His purpose, not our purpose, His purpose. So there's something in you that the Most High sees that will accomplish His purpose, His covenant, as Brother Craig always likes to point out. Right? Because y'all know we're supposed to be in covenant relationship with Him, right? So the Most High can't allow something to happen to you that's outside of His covenant. It's got to be within His covenant because it's got to be designed to build you, to mold you, to shape you, to make you conform to the image of His Son, the Messiah. That's part of the covenant. That's the part of the covenant we don't like to talk about, though, but that is part of the covenant. So, verse 2, "And the Lord said unto Satan, From whence comest thou? And Satan answered the Most High and said, From going to and fro in the earth and walking up and down in it. And the Most High said unto Satan, Hast thou considered my servant Job? Whoa, wait a minute. You done already got the landlord raising your rent. You done already, your car done broke down. You done got sick and you done lost your job. And whoa, the Most High still asking Satan, Have you considered Tiana? Just mess with you, Tiana. But take Tiana's name out and put your own name there. Have you considered Sally? And Sally, you thinking, not you per se, but all of us, whoever's in there, but just we're thinking, wait a minute, Lord, I already got this going on. You telling me something else about to happen? Yes, I'm telling you something else is about to happen. So the Most High says to Job again, to Satan again, Have you considered, Job, that there is none like him in the earth, a perfect and upright man, one that feareth the Most High and escheweth evil, and still he holdeth fast to his integrity, although thou movest me against him to destroy him without a cause. See, you may say, well, brother, I thought you said that the Most High saw something lacking in Job. He did, if you read the rest of the story, right? What I want to point out here, though, is that notice that even though the Most High saw something lacking in Job, he saw the end result of Job too. He sees the end result of you. He sees where he's going to take you. That's why the Most High is speaking as if it's already done. Let me say that again. The Most High sees something in you. He sees the end of you. He sees that part of you at the end because to him, it's already done. You're just having to go through the mechanism of getting there. You're going through perfection, as Brother Craig just stated. You're being perfected. So now, your rent has got raised, of course, and y'all know me, I'm redundant. So we like to be redundant to drill this in, right? Again, your rent's been raised, you lost your job, you got sick, your car broke down. But here we go, another challenge. So now, your family members who you were going to turn to help you out, because y'all know when we going through a situation, we start thinking of ways to get ourselves out of it, right? So now your family members that were going to help you come and tell you, say, you know what? I think you brought this all on yourself. I'm not helping you. And you're like, whoa, what you talking about? What you talking about? Brought this all on myself. I couldn't help. I got sick. But whatever it was, your family members decided they were not going to help you. So now the situation is worse because now you have absolutely no one to turn to. Because when we go through trials and tribulations, we usually turn to family, right? We turn to friends and those who can help us, right? But now the Most High allowed your friends and your family to be moved out the way. So now you have nobody to turn to except him. But remember, this is opportunity. This is a favorable time for advancement, even though it does not look like it's a favorable time, right? Verse 4. And Satan answered the Most High and said, skin for skin, yea, all that a man hath would he give for his life. But put forth thine hand now and touch his bone and his flesh, and he will curse thee to thy face. So not only has the Most High allowed Satan to come in and do this to you, all these things, now the Most High says, you can do evil. You know what? Let's turn up the heat a little more, right? That's what Satan said to the Most High. And the Most High allows him to turn up the heat even more. And the Most High said unto Satan, behold, he is in thine hand, but save his life. So went Satan forth from the presence of the Most High and smote Job with sore boils from the sole of his foot unto his crown. And he took him potsherd to scrape himself withal, and he sat down among the ashes. Then said his wife unto him, dost thou still retain thy integrity? Curse God and die. Let's stop again. Your rent got raised. And, forgive me if y'all get tired of me saying this stuff, but we got to really drill this in. Your rent got raised. You lost your job. You got sick. The car broke down. Now your family won't help you. But then, things come, and whether it be through the media, messages come through us. Y'all know that, right? Messages start coming through us, right? Because we already questioning God and saying, why, Lord, why? And we're crying and different things like that. And then we get these little messages, right? But for us, because we, for the most part, hang around other people that will probably believe in the Most High and everything, right? We get our messages sometimes a little different. Our messages come from TV and radio and music and different other sorts of media, right? And we get the message that tells us, you know what? I can't do nothing here. You know what? I might as well just go out there and do what I want to do and just, hey. And that's essentially the same thing, to me, that essentially, Job's wife told him to curse God and die. Right? Nobody comes out and tells us that. You know what I mean? They just gives us messages or whatever to tell us not to be steadfast in our walk. So y'all know what we do then, right? We start slipping away, slipping back. We start drawing back. But Job actually went and worshiped. But that's not what we do. We draw back. And we start getting distant from the Most High. We stop praying. We stop seeking His word. We stop reading it. Because we got to that point of despair and we are like, hey, what's the point now? But again, you're in your opportunity for faith. Verse 10, look at what Job said. But he said unto her, thou speakest as one of the foolish women speaketh. What? Shall we receive good at the hand of the Most High, and shall we not receive evil? And all this did not Job sin with his lips. But you say, but well, brother, I ain't Job. And guess what? I know you're not Job. But the Most High is trying to perfect you, just like He was doing with Job. See, again, when we read to the end of the story, we see Job did have a problem. Even though the Most High spoke of Job according to the end of how Job would be. Righteous, eschewing evil. He's doing the same thing about us, though. Because He sees the end of us. Verse 11, now when Job's 3 friends heard of all this evil that was come upon him, they came every one from his own place. Eliphaz, which, if you remember, Eliphaz was a grandson of Esau. Job was one of the sons of Esau. That's in another book, another time, another place. But Eliphaz the Temanite, and Bildad the Shuhite, and Zophar the Naamathite, for they had made an appointment together to come to mourn with him and to comfort him. But y'all know the story. So for us, this is us now asking everybody for advice. We go on to everybody else and we're asking for advice, saying, well, what should I do? When really, we should be doing like Job did and fell down and worshiped Him. We really should start seeking Him. We really should be reading His word, to find out what it is that He wants us to do. Not what our friend wants us to do. Not what our brother in Christ. Now, don't get me wrong. A brother in Christ should be someone that should be able to admonish you. A sister in Christ should be able to admonish you, right? But they should lead you back to the word. See, we don't want to be like these friends of Job were, who told him unrighteously, right? But see, the point of it is that with Job, they had already had an appointment to get together. They had already decided they were getting together before, and all that stuff, right? But they're coming to him, giving him advice, ungodly advice. So what does that tell us when we're going through these situations? While your rent is being raised, your car broke down, you're sick and you don't have a job no more, and now your family's not going to help you. This tells us that you should be making sure you're surrounding yourself around people that are going to encourage you to actually go forward and actually seek the Most High and praise Him and worship Him and find out what His will is in your situations. See, that's what we should be doing. We should be surrounding ourselves with those kind of people. But here's the thing. If we do like we do a lot of times and draw back and isolate ourselves and don't want to talk to people, well, you can't get any of that encouragement. Because when you're alone, you're even more of a target. Verse 12, and when they had lifted up their eyes from afar off and knew him not, they lifted up their voice and they wept, and they rent every one his mantle and sprinkled dust upon their heads toward heaven. So they sat down with him upon the ground 7 days and 7 nights, and none spake a word unto him, for they saw that his grief was very great. See, right now, with what we're all going through, and again, I want you to know, like, this is not a message, like, targeting any person, because we're all going through trials right now. Make no mistake about it. I'm going through trials I have not said anything to anybody in this room about, okay, that I'm facing. And the thing is that, but I'm keeping my head steadfast for the Most High, because the thing is I know nothing can happen unless He allows it to happen. And I know this is the opportunity He saw fit for me, to advance me, to perfect me in His word, to make me go forth as a person, as a believer in the Messiah. But not only did He see me for an opportunity, He saw each and every one of you for an opportunity. And the thing is, your challenge may not be the rent being raised. Your challenge may not be the car breaking down. It may not be that you're sick. It may not be that you lost your job. But it is something. And that challenge is dear to you more than it is to anybody else. But I want you to understand the word for the day is you're in a time that's favorable for you, for advancement. And now you got to actually decide how you're going to react to what you're going through. Because you have a choice. Job is the example that we want to follow in our choice. Because if we never learn this lesson, if we don't learn it now, we'll never learn it. And we'll constantly be going around the mountain the same all the time. We'll never, ever grow. We keep talking about faith, and how faith is a conviction. We defined it that day in that lesson on faith. That when you define it there in the Greek, it's a conviction. It becomes something that you just know it. You can feel it. You just know it. So nobody has to convince you otherwise. So in the midst of what we're all going through, personally, and different things, I have to ask you a question. Did you know that you were considered? Did you know that the Most High placed you in an opportunity right now? Did you know that, again, you have a choice on how to respond to the challenge? You can let him perfect you, or you can go the other route. So, again, our rent is raised. We have no job. We're sick. Car broke down. Family now deserted us. And we're getting all these messages on TV and radio and media. And even some people that we may know that are not really believers, well, they may say they're believers, but y'all know how that goes, right? They're maybe not believers in their walk. And they're telling us things like, well, you know what? You know what you should do? Since you can't pay your rent, hey, just move out without the landlord knowing. I mean, what they gonna do? Put it on your credit, right? And we start thinking, yeah, you know what? That's true. Yeah, they can't do nothing. Just put it on my credit. I can't go to jail for it, so okay, yeah. You know what I mean? Then somebody else come and say, let them take the car. Girl, you know what you should go do? You go get you another job, right? Any job. Just go get you a cash car, right? So you're like, okay, yeah, okay. Yeah, all they can do is just put it on my credit anyway. Yeah, right? Somebody else tell you, you know what? Oh, you sick? Man, you know what you should do? You should go down to one of these free clinics, right? And, go in there, tell them you ain't got no money and stuff like that. Hey, they'll get you fixed up and everything, right? Here's the point. The point is, everybody come to us giving us advice. But is the advice they giving us what the Most High wants us to do or not? That's the question. Because everybody got advice. Y'all know that, right? And no matter what we're going through, everybody got advice. And y'all know when people really want to give you advice? When they are not going through your situation. It's amazing how they're not going through your situation, then they want to tell you how to fix it, though. They may not have never been through it or nothing. They want to tell you, this is how you should do it. Sally, if I was you, Sally, this is what I would do. Right? And Sally, in your mind, you're thinking, Negro, you ain't never been through this. How you going to tell me what to do? Right? But they full of advice. Sally, you should do it this way. Yeah, this will work. But again, is the advice we're getting the advice that the Most High wants us to follow? Because if we really want the advice that He wants to give us, it requires some work on our part. We just don't get it just freely. We got to go to Him in prayer. We got to do things that are uncomfortable. Which for some of us, that may be getting on our knees and just worshiping. Maybe there's something we got to come out of ourselves in and get out of our comfort zone and do something else that we know the Most High has been telling us to do the whole time, but we've been stubborn to it. And we've been resistant to it. Because y'all know we're a stubborn, stiff-necked people. But today is a call to action. It's a call to action. Because what's happening is the Most High wants us to know that He knows what we're going through, each and every one of us. And there are people in the room I've talked to, you know what I mean, personally, you know what I mean, that I know are going through hard things, right? But the thing is, what I want you to know is, your brother or sister right next to you is going through something hard too that you don't even know about. That you have no idea what they're going through. So it's not just you. And we got to find a way, while going through this, whatever we're going through, we got to find a way to really push ourselves to go a little further, to do a little more in our walk with the Most High, in our worship, in our prayer. And we got to be willing to change. Because y'all know that in the end, Job changed. There was something about him that changed. So guess what? Something about each and every one of us that needs to change. And what has changed? Well, y'all know me. I like to define it from the dictionary. Because it's kind of one of those things when you define it from the dictionary, it gets sealed. To make the form, nature, content, to make a form, or develop a nature for a future course. Something different from what it would be if left alone. To transform or convert. Convert. To transform from one conveyance to another. So, there's some transforming that we still have left to do. And we shouldn't be surprised about that because, again, the whole Bible talks about us being conformed to His image, right? And I'm looking for that scripture because I want to read it. The point is, if you never go through anything, how are you going to be conformed? If you want something to change in your life, how is it ever going to happen unless some kind of trial or tribulation comes? That's the question we need to ask because, again, we're all got little opportunities here. And the thing about it is, we reading about Job that lost all his money, his wealth, his family. And then he had 3 friends that were coming to him giving him bad advice. But the thing is, see the pattern. We do the same things. The only difference is that we don't remain righteous while we're going through ours, while Job did remain righteous. That's the difference. Job still remained righteous. But even in the midst of him being righteous, the Most High still saw something else that needed to be worked out in him. So let's go to Romans 8. We're going to come back to Job. Let's go to Romans 8. And that's going to be verse 29. Thank you, Tara, for looking that up for me. This is book of Romans, chapter 8, verse 29. It says, for whom he did foreknow, he also did predestinate to be conformed to the image of his Son, that he might be the firstborn among many brethren. Did you know that the Most High foreknew you? It says that whom he did foreknow, he predestinated to be conformed to the image of the Messiah. So what you're going through right now, believe it or not, this opportunity you have to be converted, to be changed, is all because he foreknew you. And that's a blessing. To be foreknown by the Most High, that's a great blessing. Because again, whom he loved, he chastises. But he said whom he foreknew, he also predestinated to be conformed to the image of his Son, that his Son might be the firstborn among many brethren. Verse 30. Moreover, whom he did predestinate, them also he called. So he also called you. And whom also he called, he also justified. And whom he justified, them he also glorified. So wait a minute, do you see you see how much thinking about you the Most High is doing? He's thinking about you so much, all he wants to do is bless you. Because going through your situations is about him blessing you. It's an opportunity for advancement, for you to be conformed to the image of his Son. He wants to bless us. Verse 31. What shall we then say to these things? If God be for us, who can be against us? See, we've heard the saying all the time that what Satan meant for bad, the Most High meant for good, right? But how come we don't believe that when we're going through problems? That's the time we need to even more believe that, but we don't believe it then. We don't even think about it then, right? So your rent got raised, you lost your job, you got sick, your family don't help you no more, your car broke down. Why aren't you thinking then? You know what? All this stuff is for my good. But instead, you're wallowing. You're being depressed. You're being sad. We operate as people that don't have any hope when we're going through trial and tribulation. But that's not the God we serve. He is a God of hope. He said, if I be for you, who can be against you? So the point of it is, we got to stop. We got to take a step back right now for whatever we're going through. And we have to ask ourselves, Father, help me respond the way Job did. And I want everybody to know, so that everyone knows, this was not a prescripted lesson. Okay? As I always do, I pray and I ask the Father, what is it that should be said today? I submit to you, when I came through the door, I did not know what we were going to talk about today. It was something that Sister Maswa said, and the Most High dropped something in my mind right then and there about what to talk about. And she'll recall, she said, I was about to say something back to her, and I said, no. I was about to say something, I said, no, I'm supposed to hold that. See, I'm telling you, when the Spirit is operating, the Spirit will give us what we need at the right time. And like I said, y'all know I like to have a message written out and everything, and even properly, and even emailed ahead of time, right? But lately, the way the Most High has been dealing with me, I have problems doing that for some reason. I'm trying to figure out, well, Lord, what are we going to talk about this week? And there's silence. And I'm like, okay, I guess it's going to be another one of those days, huh, Lord? He's like, yep. It's going to be another one of those days where you're going to have to trust me right at the moment for me to give you the message. So I'm like, okay, Lord, I'm going to trust you. Because y'all know that's my opportunity too. I mean, y'all know I don't want to come in here and not have nothing to talk about, right? And we just sitting and twiddling our thumbs, right? But the Most High saying, CJ, this is for your development, son. I need you to be to a point where if I send you somewhere, you can speak at the drop of a hat what I'm giving you. And speak my words and not your own. So I say, okay, Lord, I'm going to trust you. I'm going to trust that you're going to give the message that's going to resonate with each and every one of us. Because the Bible says in Jeremiah that he will give us messages, you know what I mean, and a message in due season. A message that's needed, right? That'll help us, right? So I just want to make sure everybody knows that. This was not prescripted. I had no idea what to talk about. And the Most High dropped it in my lap. After something Masawa said, he dropped it in my mind. He put in my head opportunity. Because we need to understand why we're having the challenges we're having. They're opportunities. Opportunities to increase faith. Opportunities to be perfected. But we got to respond appropriately to the opportunity, y'all, because again, as we define opportunity, it's a favorable time of advancement. No matter how bleak it looks, opportunity, by definition, is a favorable time of advancement. And I'm sorry to keep saying this over and over, but I'm saying it as it comes to me because we're hard-headed. We're stiff-necked. We need this drilled, right? And then, since it's being recorded, you can go back later and listen to it again and again and again and again, right? So that if it's a hard day you're going through and you're saying, well, I'm feeling weak today, but you can cue up the message and listen to opportunity again, right? You can cue it up with these modern conveniences we have with technology. So again, if God be for us, who can be against us? But look at verse 32, right? Because y'all know we talk about being conformed to the image of the Messiah, right? But when we talk about these things, we only talk about the good things. We don't never talk about the bad things, right? So we got to talk about the bad things. Verse 32 says, he that spared not his own son, but delivered him up for us all, how shall he not with him also freely give us all things? The Most High gave his own son, as the Bible says in Hebrews, his only begotten son, for us. What makes us think that if he gave up his own son, that he won't let you go through the fire? I recall our Messiah being in so much anguish in the Garden of Gethsemane that the Bible says he sweated drops of blood. Think about that for a second. Your Messiah was so in anguish when he realized what he's about to do. I'm telling you, if y'all just think about it, I'm just sure he was like, man, woo, this heat is hard. Woo. Oh, Lord, take this cup away from me. Oh. But not my will. Let your will be done. Think about that for a second. Our Messiah was in so much agony, knowing he was about to take all of our sins upon himself, all of our imperfections, all of our isms and schisms and upon himself. And he's like, woo, I don't know if I want to, oh man, I don't know, this fire hot. But yet, he said, not my will, but let your will be done.
And why did he cause the storm?
How come we can't say right now in the midst of our storm, thank you, virtue, Father, this heat is hot, and I feel like I'm about to burn up. But then the reminder comes, well, your Messiah didn't burn up, but he did have to die. And I submit to us all, the Most High still wants us to die to ourselves too. Surrender. He wants us to surrender. Truly surrender. And let him have his way with us. But we're still to that point where we want to pull back and we want to still have our way. So he says, okay, you want your way? All right. Satan, bulldog, go turn up the heat a little hotter. Yeah, don't do that. And Satan, like a bulldog, he anxious. He just ready, boy. He's like, he's like ready to tear us to shreds, right? And he's like, bulldog, go ahead, sick him. And everything he said, but bulldog, you better not bite him. I just want you to scare him. So we're scared now, right? We're scared. Remember, the rent got raised. Car broke down. We got sick. We lost our job. Now even our family won't even help us. And that bulldog just, just barking, right? He barking at us, right? Got us afraid, and we're just like, oh, I don't know what to do. I don't know where I'm going to turn, you know? And the Most High right there beside you, he see the bulldog, but the bulldog's on a leash. And guess who it is that's actually holding him on the leash? The Most High. Because remember, it was the Most High that actually got the attention, that made you get the attention of the bulldog. Remember, the bulldog, Satan, was already going to and fro looking for somebody to chomp on, right? What is the scripture in Ephesians? For he goes around like a roaring lion, seeking whom he may devour. I just put it as a bulldog because y'all know bulldog, that's a little more easier for us to recognize, right? We don't go through neighborhoods seeing lions right now, right? But we can go through a neighborhood and see a bulldog, right? But like I said, the Most High got the leash right here. The bulldog sitting there just chomping, just barking, right? Just ready to chew you up. And the Most High sitting there holding him, say, yeah, I know you want to bite him. I know you want to bite him, but I already told you better not bite him, right? But the bulldog's still there barking, chomping. He ready because the bulldog sees an opportunity too, remember? Remember, who gave him the opportunity again? Everybody say it. Who gave the bulldog the opportunity? The Most High, right? The master gave him the opportunity. The bulldog was already looking. So the Most High holding him back. And the Most High looking at us saying, you ready to trust me? You know I got you in a favorable time right now. You know I'm looking. You know I just want to bless you. I just want you to stand up to this bulldog. Because I want you to see that I'm greater than the bulldog. See, the Most High is greater than our problems. And while we know that in this illustration, I'm using the example of Satan, we're also using the allegory of your problems. Because your problem right now is the bulldog, whether you know it or not. Your problem is the bulldog. And you're scared because of your problem. Because your problem now is making itself appear greater to you than the Most High. But if the Most High be for you, who, or should we even say what could be against you? So isn't the bulldog there for your good? Isn't the bulldog there actually to scare you, if it will, into the arms of the Most High even more? Because the bulldog is there to actually give you an opportunity, remember? Opportunity for faith, opportunity for advancement. But you got to respond appropriately to the bulldog. You got to respond appropriately. Because again, the Most High in verse 32 of Romans 8 didn't even spare his own son, but delivered his son up for us all. How shall he not with him also freely give us all things? So we're talking about the Most High blessing you, right? Getting you to advance with whatever problem that you're having. That problem is designed to advance you. But to bless you in general means he wants to give you something. So why won't you let him give it to you? Why won't you let him? Because I submit to you, we're going to keep going through this mountain, round and round, till we finally say, Father, you're greater than this bulldog. You're greater than this challenge. And Father, I just break out and thank you for this time of advancement. I thank you for this favorable time that you're bestowing upon me, because opportunity means you're actually looking at me and you're seeing there's something favorable to come out of this for me. See, I know this ain't the kind of message you normally hear, talking about for all things work for the good of those who love him. But y'all know the Most High knows how to put it in the right way to get to us, right? He knows how to get it to us. He knows how to make it sink in, right? So while you're sitting over there, rent raised, you're sick, lost your job, car broke down, you got all these people giving you wrong advice, and you're not responding the way that the Most High wants you to respond. The Most High says this is your time to draw closer. This is your time to draw nearer. Because, son, daughter, I need you to see me for who I am. And right now, you're looking at me through glasses that I didn't give you. I need you to see me through my word. I need you to see me through what I've given you, what I've taught you. I need you to see me the right way. And it's time for you, son or daughter, to respond appropriately. That's what we need to do today. Again, until we do it, we're going to keep going around and round. But this is our opportunity. So, when we think about Job, right? Because, again, that's where we started. And we had to kind of look at how Job responded in comparison to how we responded. And, we're asking the questions right now saying, Lord, why? Why am I going through this, right? And all he's saying, you need to draw closer. But he wants to ask you a few questions now. Because remember, you're supposed to be seeing him greater than the bulldog, right? So let's go to Job chapter 38. Then we're going to start at verse 1 because now the Most High is going to say, I'm going to talk now. I'm going to ask you some questions, son and daughter. Verse 1, Job 38. Then the Most High answered Job out of a whirlwind and said, who is this that darkeneth counsel by words without knowledge? Who is this telling you the way you need to be responding to the Most High all wrong? Verse 3. Gird up now thy loins like a man, for I will demand of thee, and answer thou me. So the Most High said, pick yourself up. Get up from your despair. Get up from being sorry and sad for yourself. Get yourself up. I'm going to ask you a few questions now. Verse 4. Where was thou when I laid the foundation of the earth? Declare it, if thou hast understanding. See, remember, you're supposed to be realizing he's greater than your problem. You're supposed to be knowing that he's greater than that bulldog on the leash. He said, where was you when I laid the foundations of the earth? Huh? Where were you? Tell me if you got understanding. Verse 5. Who have laid the measures thereof, if thou knowest? Or who has stretched the line upon it? Tell me if you know, he says today. He says, I'm going to ask you some questions. Verse 6, whereupon are the foundations thereof fastened? Or who laid the cornerstone thereof when the morning stars sang together and all the sons of God shouted for joy? Do you know it? Do any of us know it? No, because we're not God. Does the bulldog know it? Does the bulldog of the situation in your life know it? No, because the bulldog is still not God. Verse 8. Or who shut up the sea with doors when it brake forth, as if it had issued out of a womb? Do you know? No, you don't. Because again, you're not God. He is. Verse 9. When I made the cloud of garment thereof, and thick darkness a swallowing for it, and break up for it my decreed place, and set bars and doors, and said, hitherto shalt thou come, but no further. And here shall thy proud waves be stayed. Do you know? Where were we when the Most High created the moon and the stars? Where were we? Where were we when he told the oceans how far they could come? Where were we when he told the land to divide after the flood? Where were we at? Right? Did any of us give him counsel? No. Because we're not God. And again, your situation is not God. The Most High is still Lord. He is still the Most High. Why do we call him the Most High? Because he's higher than any situation, any problem, any person, anything in this universe. So why then are we in despair? When we have the King, I mean the ultimate King, the King of Kings on our side. That already said, if I'm for you, who can be against you? He already said this to you. But yet, we're still wallowing in despair like we don't even see him or know he exists. Verse 12. Hast thou commanded the morning since thy days and caused the day spring to know its place? Did any of us ever tell the sun to come up? Nope. Did we ever tell the sun to go down? Nope. Did we ever command the rain? Now, don't get me wrong. We know Isaiah, Elijah prayed that it didn't rain, right? But that was something, though, of course, according to the Most High's covenant too. All right, it was according to the Most High's will. The point is, can you go outside right now and say, rain, rain? And they do it? No, because you're not God. Again, verse 12, hast thou commanded the morning since thy days, and caused the dayspring to know its place, that it might take hold of the ends of the earth, that the wicked might be shaken out of it? It is turned as clay to the seal, and they stand as a garment. And from the wicked their light is withholden, and their high aim shall be broken. Hast thou entered into the springs of the sea, or hast thou walked in the search of the depth? Have the gates of death been opened unto thee? Or hast thou seen the doors of the shadow of death? Have thou perceived the breadth of the earth? Declare it if thou knowest it all. Where is the way where light dwelleth? And as for darkness, where is the place thereof? Thou shouldest take it up to thou shouldest take it to the bound thereof, and that thou shouldest know the paths to the house thereof. Knowest thou it because thou wast born, or because the number of thy days is great? We're getting the point, aren't we? But the Most High is asking us these same questions. Because you know what we just did by allowing our bulldog of a situation cause us to draw back and not seek him and not worship him and get in despair? We've allowed that bulldog to now become the Most High to us. That's what we did. So we now have a little idol called a bulldog. But yet, we can go on and on. Chapters 38, 39. All these things that the Most High is asking us questions about. But again, we get the point. All right? So let's jump to Job 40. Verse 1. Moreover, the Most High answered Job and said, shall he that contendeth with the Almighty instruct him? He that reproveth God, let him answer it. Can any of us reprove the Most High? No. So watch how Job responds. Verse 3. Then Job answered the Most High and said, behold, I am vile. What shall I answer thee? I will lay my hand upon my mouth. And that's what we should be doing. We should be just like this. I can't say nothing, Father. You got me. You got me in my tracks. Because I'm not God. And my situation's not God. Because, Father, you created the bulldog. You even created the leash that the bulldog's on. Your situation is not an accident. It didn't just come out of the blue. Believe it or not, it's a situation that the Most High already saw coming way back when. But now we're going through the situation to be perfected, to grow, to be developed, to be conformed to the image of His Son. Let's remember, our situation is not God. The Most High is God. And let's remember that we need to respond the way that Job responded, by getting quiet before the Most High, shutting our mouths, seeking Him and worshiping Him, and gaining His answer on what we should do. Nobody else's, but His. Because again, when we look at Job's situation, these are all very important lessons to learn from it. Again, you may think that your time right now, what you're going through, is not favorable. You may think that it's not, but it is. It's an opportunity. The Most High wants to bless you, but you gotta let Him. Let's come out of ourselves, and let's actually look to the Most High as God, because He is God. He is greater than any of our situations. That is the word of today.